In our top story, the suspended Gauteng Director of Mental Health, Dr. Makgabo Manamela, says she does not know why the former Gauteng Health MEC Qedani Mahlangu went ahead with the marathon project, despite pleas from various sectors asking her department not to proceed. Let's go live to the live Esidimeni arbitration proceedings.
It's not a typical case of getting a second bite.
I've been sure this witness has been here for 4 days.
I fully appreciate that, and I would not like to keep her unduly long, and if I'm willing to constrain myself.
Well, I mean, the application could have been done earlier, not the last moment.
It couldn't have been done earlier, Justice, because I only received the document about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to constrain myself.
Well, technically, this is a reopening of your cross-examination, which allows everybody else to follow on. There is an impact of what you are doing now, is that we'll have to allow everybody another slice at the cherry. And that's why courts and tribunals are so slow at allowing it.
I fully appreciate that, Justice. The only point I have to make in that regard is that we do want to get to the truth. And it's a short question. It's to clarify something that the witness has already said. And I'm willing to limit myself to 2 questions.
Again, starting from my left, is there any objection from you, counsel?
Thank you, Justice. We have seen the document, and we also think it's in the interest of justice. We won't have any cross-examination after that.
Is there any objection from you, counsel? Have you seen the document? Let's start there.
We've seen the document. We have no objection, and we welcome it. Thank you, Justice.
Counsel, have you seen the document?
Justice, we have not had the opportunity to consider the document, but we'll leave the decision in the discretion of the Justice. We will not take the matter.
Well, I've seen no document. I've been given nothing yet. I suppose I will be given some document. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice. We have received the document. We have no objection to the questioning.
Well, let me look at the document and then make up my mind whether, in fact, we ought to go down that route. Yeah, I think a copy of the... Ultimately, you're going to give the witness a copy of the letter. Very well, you may proceed with
Thank you, Justice.
putting questions to the witness.
Thank you, Justice. Dr. Manamela, earlier in your testimony, you said that that the SAPS has not requested you to provide any information or to make a statement to them. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
And you also said that you would be more than willing to cooperate with the SAPS. Do you recall that?
That's correct.
Have you seen this letter before? That's before you?
That's correct.
Is it a letter from your attorneys?
That's correct.
Dated 2nd November 2017?
That's correct.
To a Dr. Quirby Murray?
That's correct.
Do you know who Dr. Quirby Murray is?
I know her.
And in what position is she in the Gauteng Department of Health?
She's the Acting Director, Mental Health Services.
So if we can have regard to this letter, and if we could just get straight to the point, and I'd like to then take you to paragraph 4 of the letter.
No, but who are ACM Inc. attorneys? Are they your attorneys?
The witness said that they are her attorneys.
Oh, you said that already?
Yes.
Did I miss that? Okay.
In paragraph 4, it says, your request for our client to attend to SAPS Diagonal Street today, 2 November 2017 at 10 a.m. to give statement with regard to the death of mental health care users is an extremely short and prejudicial notice to our client. Do you see that?
That's correct.
Do you recall this request being made of you?
That's correct.
And then in paragraph 6, it says, our instructions are that the circumstances surrounding the death of the mental health care users have been dealt with by the Health Ombud. The Health Ombud issued his report on 1 February 2017. Insofar, paragraph 7, insofar as the Health Ombud's report relates to our client has appealed against the adverse findings and recommendations of that report. Do you see that? And so on in paragraph 7.
That's correct.
And finally, it ends, our client is unable to attend to SAPS as requested, and all her rights are reserved. Why did you say that you had not been approached to make a statement and that you were willing to cooperate, having in the light of this letter?
I'm going to answer this letter. But firstly, I want to present to the judge. I thought I will say that if Justice will agree. Section 27, they testified against me to the ombuds. I was never given chance to ask them questions. They came to my appeal, they testified, I was never given chance to ask their questions. We are here, they asked me questions. I agreed, I availed myself. But the challenge is that we are finishing, they are bringing...
Dr. Manamela, I'm not sure what question you're answering.
I'm going to, I asked to say something before I answer. I'm going to answer this one. But I want there to be
Let's allow Dr. Manamela to say what Justice said. We can continue the questions. Yes, yes, ma'am.
According to the National Amendment Act of Health, I should have asked all those people who gave evidence against me. I was not called to do that. Even in this one, I'm not given chance to ask anyone who gave evidence against me. But I am saying Section 27 was silent when we didn't get the record of the patient. They never said anything. Now we're almost done. They're bringing this. I'm going to answer it, Justice. I just want that to come out because I thought I mustn't. With this report, I was still waiting for my appeal result. And when Dr. Gobi called me, it was in the afternoon and said, come tomorrow. And I discussed with her that I won't be available tomorrow. And then, but at a stage that will be planned, that can happen. Then I gave my letter because she insisted and said, we are paying you, you must be there. You don't know what is happening in my life because I'm no longer at work. So that's why I said, my legal rep, you need to look at that. And then I just felt, Justice, that there is a lot of unfairness on my side here. This letter can be explained better by my legal team, but I still said I'm willing to be questioned by SAPC if they're willing, as long as process are followed properly, because it was just a call at after 4, come tomorrow. When I spoke to her, she said, I didn't even get your email well because I was in the bus at home, in the bus in Pretoria. So I'm just saying to you, I never said I won't do anything. My legal team were also concerned that if they call you now and say tomorrow, and they don't know what's happening, and you're still waiting for appeal result. That's another thing.
Okay. Again, the question must be put again. Please answer the question.
Sorry. Perhaps, Dr. Manamela, and we just want to get straight to the point, regardless of your antipathies to certain people and their lawyers. The last sentence says the following: our client is unable to attend to SAPS as requested and all her rights are reserved. It was a refusal to attend. Would you agree?
That was refusal to attend the following
Why did you not refer to this?
The following day, because I was told today that come tomorrow.
Okay, just hold on, Dr. Manamela. The question was the following. It was related to your own testimony. This is not a new issue that's being introduced. It's a question that had been put to you by the Honourable Justice as to whether you had been approached by the SAPS for a statement, and your answer was no.
Dr. Kubi is not SAPS. That's why I said no, because we were looking at the relevant process, the right process for me to appear, like what happened with others. I might be suspended it doesn't mean that I'm just a fool at home. People were approached properly, were asked.
Are you
to
saying
give
you have
the
no
document.
duties under your paid suspension?
Can I finish? I've got a duty when I'm still there. But people who are approached properly, they were told what to bring along and what not to bring along. I was just receiving a call after 4 and say, come tomorrow. And I was not even around here.
Okay.
And that's why
So it wasn't possible at that time?
Yes, but I agreed. Take me from what I said.
So did you then offer to meet with the SAPS at a date that would be at your convenience?
At the time that the proper letter was sent to me, I will meet them. Even if I'm not in the province, I will come back from the province and meet
Did you
them.
offer to meet them at a date of your convenience?
We never received the reply from this letter from Dr. Gubi or anybody in the department or SAPS. But I'm aware that people were told, were identified, my name was there, and then they were told what to bring along. I was just called because everybody is washing his hands, Ganna. I was just called, come tomorrow at this time, I'll make sure you are safe. It cannot be. So I'm waiting for the SAPS. When they call me, I'll go. And they'll call me properly like they did to others. It means that if I'm guilty here, anybody sees me as a guilty person because I came here as a witness, but now I'm being questioned as an accused.
No, see, Dr. Manamela, you're the one who said you were not aware and you had not been approached.
Yes, because...
And so I'm just putting it to you that in fact that's not true, that you had been aware, you had been approached, and if you were willing to cooperate, as you earlier said, you would have made yourself available to the SAPS, and you haven't done so. Isn't that correct?
Council, I didn't want to take just this time because even this letter said it's a short notice and we were waiting for the response, which we didn't get. Then I will say I was not willing if I got a response. We never got any response from this letter. So I'm still said, that's why I said I've got no problem for whoever wants to know about the project. I was part of the project team. But it needs to be done properly and rightly and without any discrimination or a violation of anyone.
Do you know that you're not the only person who's been requested to make a statement to the SAPS?
It can be, yes, and I don't have a problem with that.
So there's no discrimination?
The way I was informed, there is discrimination because I was prohibited to put my thoughts together to think what it might be needed. I was told after 4 towards 5 to say come tomorrow. So it was not fair and it was not in a dignified way. So I was hoping to get the response.
And you haven't been in contact with Dr. Kwabi Maria again since then?
She hasn't contacted me.
And you're on paid suspension?
I think...
do you not think that while you're on paid suspension, let me just finish the question and then you can have your say. Do you not think that while you're on paid suspension, you still have a duty of accountability at the very least? You've not been dismissed from the department yet.
I think the issue of me being paid and being paid all the time, I think I earned the money in terms of my qualifications and in terms of me being appointed. It cannot always arise. And it's like the way it was also said, you repeat it again, you know you are on suspension and we're paying you. I know that, how come that I should be reminded all the time? And I said, I'm available. I even indicated to Dr. Gubi, maybe if we look at this date, but she never came back to me with those days, and I couldn't go.
And you never contacted her yourself?
She never came back to me.
And you never contacted her yourself afterwards?
So
is that correct?
I contacted her through this legal document. And
but after this document, did you contact her?
I was hoping that she will also contact me through the document.
Dr. Manamela, if you could just answer my question, I'll stop. Did you contact Dr. Kwabi Maria after this letter?
I couldn't contact her.
Okay. Thank you, Justice.
Thank you. Advocate Krause.
No cross-examination. Thank you, Justice.
Advocate Kunewald.
We will leave it at that. Thank you, Justice.
Yeah.
No questions. Thank you, Justice.
Advocate Tina. Advocate Utam.
Justice, I think I'll have one or two questions.
Yes, certainly.
Dr. Manamela, were you ever contacted by any member of the South African Police Service in relation to this, the issues arising from the project?
Around immediately we were suspended, somebody called me and said she wants to meet me. I was not in the province, and I said, I'm not in the province. Can you send me your details? And then he said, okay, who are other people? It was in relation to one patient. He asked me, who are the other people who were with when you visit the family? Then I gave him the names of the people I went with to the family. She said, no, if I need any further information, I'll come back to you. So he didn't come back to me. In my own thinking, it means the two officials I gave the number to, it means they helped him. He never came back to me. Then I was only contacted by Dr. Gubi on the date that is indicated here. That was the second. That's all. No one else ever contacted me about that.
I mean, we all know that everyone is anxious, wants to know exactly what had occurred with regard to the implementation of the project. Should the members of the South African Police contact you, will you fully cooperate with them in their investigations in order to uncover the truth?
That's correct. That's what I will do.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. But when I asked you whether members of the police, South African police, have been in touch with you, why don't you tell me yes through a letter of the acting head of your department? Why did you just say no?
You know, Justice, she called me. It just slipped my mind because she called me and we responded. We were waiting. So I was thinking I'm waiting to be contacted because, you know, the people who were contacted, they were told they have to bring 1, 2, 3 to that. So that's what I was waiting for. And again, because I've got no objection in cooperating with them, I just felt that as soon as they contact me, the way they contacted others, then I will carry on with them and give them the information.
You see, the question had nothing to do with whether you are an accused or not. Let me explain it to you. In our law, any person who dies in circumstances that may not be natural, the police are obliged to open a docket. You know that.
That's correct, Justice.
And have an inquiry, an inquest into that death.
That's correct.
And now we all know, as the state has conceded, these deaths were unlawful. So the state is obliged by law to investigate the causes of death. That is what I was interested in. Are there inquests going on to get to the bottom of the question whether there's criminal liability that attaches to the deaths, which we now know have been caused unlawfully and recklessly? So that is where I was going to. That's why I asked you the question. And I would have hoped you'd say to me, well, yes, one of my colleagues in the department said I must go and meet with the SAPS. Why didn't you tell me that?
I think on the issue of inquest, as it was debated on Monday the 20th when I was here, I always knew it will happen, but when I was contacted by Dr. Gobi, who is the health department employee, not an officer of safety and SAPS. So I got your question that you are looking for me to give you answers related to SAPS. So that's why I said no, because I was still waiting. So not knowing that if she phoned me, that is what I should have done. But I was waiting to say.
When she phoned you, did she say that you should go and meet with the South African Police Service?
She said
officers.
She said I must come to the office, and then I will find the South African police officer, and she will make sure that I'm safe. And then I said, okay, can you...
Safe from what?
I don't know, but that's why she said maybe she felt I'm a little bit afraid to go to the office, because one question I asked her, I wanted a letter. When I was suspended, it was clearly indicated I can go to the office only through the invitation by the head of department. So that's why I asked her, and then she said, no, I'll just ensure that you are safe. But only to realize that some people, if they need information, they were supposed to be prepared. Why am I expected to appear everywhere without being prepared? And then we ask.
No, I was only asking, why didn't you tell me about this approach?
Okay, like I was saying, as she was not a police officer, I was waiting. Actually, I'm still waiting for the police officers to contact me. If they do it by themselves or through the HOD, that's what I'm still waiting.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of your evidence, and I thank you for coming and for being here and responding to the subpoena. And I also want to thank you as arbitrator and head of this tribunal for your participation. It's important at many levels, including just the plain level of being held to account for the decisions you have made, a principle we find in our Constitution. We so valued that we even wrote it into our Constitution. It's one of the founding principles in Chapter 1 of our Constitution. So it's a very important thing that we are doing. Those who wield public power are liable to be called to explain the decisions that they've made and the consequences that flow from their decisions. So thank you for coming and being part of this process. We have developed a practice here that at the end of the evidence of anyone who visits us as a witness, that they'll be given the last word. And this is your opportunity to say whatever you may choose to say, particularly to family members of mental health care users who were implicated by the Marathon Project, and to South Africa, those who may care to listen. It's your opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Justice. Thank you also for inviting me here. Two things I want to say before I come to the family. I believe that somehow, somewhere during these proceedings, I was termed or seen as an accused. My right to dignity and privacy were violated. My medical condition was published without my consent. And I witnessed a lot of bias in this proceeding. However, for the sake of the patients that we really loved, I had to endure that. And I just wanted this to be recorded that I came here looking for document, thinking I'll get document to be ready if I'm accused, but I was placed to be a witness, and then, but the proceeding process put it to me that most were in the accusing line of me as the Director of Mental Health. However, thank you so much for allowing me to come. And I have to reiterate that I'm deeply saddened by the death of the mentally health care users, regardless of where they died and how they died. That is a regrettable moment for me, which kept me also for almost over a year with pain. And I empathize with the families for the pains, the hurts that they experience, the sleepless night. I really empathize with them. And in area where we haven't done things properly to satisfy the family, I want to say my apologies on that area and say I hope at the end of this process, no matter what the outcome will be, the family will find closure from the hardship they went through. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Manamela. You are free to leave if you so choose. There might be one or two housekeeping matters for us to deal with. Again, I thank you, and we are done with your evidence.
Thanks.
Council, shall we talk about Wednesday?
Justice Masanake, they were supposed to deal with legal aid clients today. They have now been pushed back to Wednesday. We will take off from the witnesses of the legal aid clients. And thereafter, I see from the program that we might have someone else to speak on the state of the mortuaries, I think on behalf of the state. I'm not sure whether we are still going to hear evidence on that, having had somebody else coming from CRCC. I'm sure my colleague, Advocate Utama, would give us some more information on that, whether we are still yet to receive evidence on the state of mortuaries or not.
Let me start with you, Advocate Krause.
Justice, we have witnesses ready and available, and we could, if the mortuary person is not available, we could lead those witnesses.
That will be tomorrow.
And on Wednesday, Judges.
On Wednesday, I beg your pardon, Wednesday, yes. Indeed, Wednesday.
That is so.
Very well. Advocate Utama.
Justice, I've been made to understand that from the request of the Mamelodi Hospital, the witness will only be available on the 30th of November, 2017.
When is that?
That will be on Thursday.
On Thursday.
So in light of that, the witnesses represented by legal aid may proceed with their evidence on the Wednesday.
Where's Ms. Anna Jacobus?
Justice, for now, we do not know, but we do understand that she's based in Pretoria. We'll make a follow-up. We'll report back on Wednesday when we reconvene.
Yes, I think we should try and find her and hear from her.
Correct. We have already started when evidence began coming up from Dr. Manamela to find out her contact details, but we'll report back on Wednesday.
Okay.
Thanks, Judge.
Well, very well. I suppose that the balance of the program will stay as is unless otherwise advised.
Correct, Justice Masaneke.
Very well. We are done, and I'm not unhappy that we are done. So we are going to 4:30 adjourn until Wednesday morning at 9:30. Thanks. We are adjourned.
So retired Deputy Chief Justice Moseneke there thanking Dr. Manamela for appearing and adhering to the subpoena. Of course, a few minutes ago, we heard Dr. Manamela ending her testimony with remarks to the tribunal before addressing the family members and wishing them well, that they find closure, also apologizing for what could be her part in this tragic ending, also bemoaning her right to privacy, saying her dignity was violated when a medical condition was revealed, and basically saying that the process was biased. Also new evidence in the form of a letter from Manamela's attorney which conflicts her earlier testimony that she had not met with the South African Police Service before regarding the deaths of the mental health patients, saying she was never asked to speak to the cops and would cooperate.